Hello and welcome to this hands-on lab session where we will create an EC2 instance and transform it into a web server by installing Apache manually. Okay. So by now we know how to search for a service. This is how we'll go for it. Instances. Now launch instance. Okay. This will take us to a space where a lot of AMIs, that is Amazon Machine Images, are. Now it is up to us which AMI we select, and that depends upon what kind of server we want. For this particular lab, we are going to select Amazon Linux 2 AMI. This is also in free tier. Okay. Now this is where we select the size. T2 micro, once again free tier eligible. We get 1 vCPU and 1 gig of memory. Next. Now this is where we select, first of all, we mention the number of instances, and there are a lot of options here, but I'll just walk you through some of the options that are more important than others in terms of frequency of the use. That's it. So network. This is where we actually decide which VPC this EC2 will belong to. So we have only one VPC, the default VPC. That's okay. We can select one of the 3 subnets, but it says no preference, default subnet in any availability zone. Okay. So that's okay. I mean, it doesn't matter to me in which subnet, in which smaller network does my EC2 instance end up. And auto assign public IP. We need public IP so that we can SSH into it, or it can be accessed as a web server, right? So it says use subnet setting enable. So by default, it will get the public IP because the default VPCs and the subnets in default VPCs, and any instance created in the subnets of default VPC, they get the public IP. That's it. And IAM role. This is one feature that we will revisit, not in this lecture. We will also revisit user data, not in this lecture. Okay. Now we add storage. 8 gigs is more than enough. And we can add more volumes, but I don't think we need it. If you want to track your resources, tagging, and for automation as well, tagging is an important component, but to simplify things, I'm not going to do it. Now, security group. So if you remember, in our conceptual walkthrough, I said this is where we actually decide what all ports will be open on our server. So that's exactly what we're doing. So we need 2 things. We need to do SSH into our server so that we can log in into our server and see what files are where and run some commands as well. And then it needs to be transformed into a web server. For that, port 80 needs to be open. Okay. So SSH is already open. Add another rule for HTTP. Port 80. Okay. Now, this is not a good practice, what I'm doing here. That is, by saying the source is 0000/0, it means anyone can access. I mean, at IP level, there's no blocking. In ideal scenario and in production environment, this is not something that you would want to do. You would want to restrict it only to the IP addresses that are meant to access it through these protocols, right? Cool. Review and launch. Launch. I think it's good. Key pair. If you remember, we discussed about key pair. I mean, in a very crude form, I had explained that the lock is with AWS and the key is with us, and AWS attaches that lock for which we have the key, right? So we need to have a key pair. As of now, we have no key pair for this account in this region. So we will say create a new key pair and download key pair. All right. Please. Oh, okay. I need to give it a name. So teacher Amit K KP key pair. I mean, the name is totally up to you. Launch instances. Wonderful. So I'll pause this video till the time this instance is getting launched. It won't take a lot of time still, just to save some time here. Now that the EC2 instance is up and running, we can click here, right, and see the details, right? So this is the public IP. We will access it through public IP as a web server as well as through SSH. And we have private IP. A lot of details are here. So I invite you to explore it in your own time. And security groups, storage, stuff like that. Right now, I need to log in into this EC2 instance through SSH and run some commands to install, download, and install Apache and transform this into a web server. For that, I need to click on connect. There are other ways as well. I'm just going for the one which is very straightforward. Connect. And we are in. Yes, we're in. I'll elevate my privileges as super user. So sudo su will make me as a super user so that I can run any command. Now, the first thing that I want to do, in fact, I have these commands ready, so I'll just copy paste so that I'm not wasting time typing them. So the first command is yum update. -y means yes. Okay. So we are updating the yum package on this Linux machine, first of all. No package marked for update. Second, we are installing the, we can leave this part. Yeah. So we are installing Apache. Yum install -y, which is, or -y or -y, which is yes, httpd, which is Apache. It will install Apache. And now we need to start Apache. And then we need to ensure that Apache is always on. Done. Now, this line, this command rather, echo hello world from $hostname -f and then var www.html What it does is, it first of all creates index.html file at this location. Okay. And then this file will have this content, hello world from $hostname -f. Okay. So at this location, index.html will be created. And this index.html will be populated with hello world from this. Now, what is $hostname -f? This will render the host name of this EC2 instance. We will see this in action. Okay. So to verify that it actually creates index.html and with this content, this is what I would first do. Let's clear the screen and then go to this directory. Okay. And let us see if, let us even check for the hidden file. So ls-a will check for, will list all the files and folders, even the hidden ones. Yes. So there is nothing in here. So now if we issue this command, let us see what happens. There's nothing on screen, yes, but once again, let us run ls-a to see if index.html was generated, because ideally at this location index.html should have been generated. It indeed is. Now we need to know what is the content of this index.html. Is it hello world from $hostname -f? Let us see that. So we will cat. So these are just Linux commands. Cat index.html. Hello world from IP172 and complete hostname. So this is hello world from hostname, wherein the value of hostname is coming through $hostname -f, through this parameter. All right. Okay. So we have successfully installed Apache and actually created an index.html page. So what are we waiting for? Let us go ahead and try and access this index.html page through the public IP. So it should, if it says hello world from this, then it means we have been successful. Brace yourself up. Yep. So it says exactly what is the content of index.html. So we have successfully created an EC2 instance, installed Apache on this, and then we have created index.html page with this content, and now it is a web server. That's it. In next lecture, we will do this in an automated fashion, but we'll see that in next lecture. Thank you, and looking forward to seeing you in the next lab session.